the Benz, Punani, womanist. Baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. If you sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hard time scrolling for your long shorts. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say you're mine, say you're mine.
Where is the energy? I don't know. I don't want to be here doing this show. Yeah. That's my song for today because I am exhausted. I'm just tired. I feel like it's actually wild because it seems like a recurring theme so far in 2018. But I think it's like, for me personally, this year so far, that there's been wonderful things that have been happening, but it's so draining. It's draining, I think, more emotionally. And I've got so many other things happening in the background personally that, you know, just leaves me truly, truly exhausted. But, yeah, it's just a bit wild. And yesterday my voice was used, you know, I went to go and record the voice of this character in the Degrees cartoon. It's a show by Peter and Kwame and Ross about four guys at uni, or is it 3 guys at uni? And, you know, their life living at uni and stuff. And it's a cartoon. It's really, really cool. And I'm going to be in the next season as the voice of very, very small cameos, the voice of one of the characters. And it really did hurt my voice because I was doing the most. So I should have done vocal warm-ups, to be honest. But yeah, so you'll get to see that. Anyways, welcome to another episode of SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind and unofficially known as what? That's right, Suck Your Mum. I feel like I don't trust anyone who, when I say what, after saying SYM, they don't say suck your mum. Like, I feel like we should not trust anyone who, when we go officially known as Say Your Mind, unofficially known as what, and they don't know the answer. It's the same way when you go to spud people, you know, like fist to fist, and like they come with their open palm and they grab your fist. Instead of going, yes, blood, they're like, nah, those people scare me. I genuinely believe that they are messengers of the lowest order of Satanism. So, yeah. Anyway, that's to the side. My name is Kelechi Okafor, also known as the Benz Punani womanist. Yes, I am here. The tired Benz Punani womanist, but I am here. I feel like I'm glad to not be on social media at the moment. I'm going to take like mini breaks as I go along. But so far, I'm enjoying just not being on social media. How will that affect the podcast, you ask? Well, I don't know, because I actually just like not knowing what fuckeries is happening in the world. I feel like this is amazing. This must be what it feels like to be like the average middle class white person who has no clue of what's happening to others in society. Like, there is a lightness that I feel that I don't usually feel because I feel burdened by the fuckeries that I see around the world. And obviously I see wonderful things as well, but it's just like, just knowing that the world is a bit of a mess, like it brings me down. So I just like not kind of knowing that really. But I have to be back really. I don't even think when this podcast episode comes out, I'm not going to jump on Instagram and be like, the new episode's out, because people don't fucking click like when I put that up anyway. I'm like, guys, comment. What did you think of the episode? Silence. So I am not bothering myself. I feel like my general theme today is I really don't give a shit. So I'm still making the podcast though, so that's got to count for something. Other thing, the Patreon is up. A few people clocked last week that it was actually up, even though I said it's going to be up in about a week or two, that it's actually up and there's extra content on the Patreon. So it's patreon.com/Kelechi Okafor, and you can subscribe. It's $3 a month. You can subscribe to extra content. So there'll be extra content from this show as well for you to plug into. The first bit of content, I made it available after 4 days so the public could see it. People who aren't subscribed or who aren't monthly subscribers, they can see what I've put on. But then from here on in, I won't be doing that. It will just be patrons only that can see the extra content. So if you want to join me there, join me there. If you don't, that's all right, baby girls and baby boys. I don't mind. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Let's get into things then. So the card that I pulled today, I'll just go into that, was the Queen of Swords. I pulled the Queen of Swords. Now, this is really important to me that I pulled this card because I'm the sword suit, basically, because I'm a Libra. I'm basically the sword suit. So, you know, each of the suits each of the suits of the deck reference a particular kind of zodiac sign or a group of zodiac sign. So I fall into the swords because I'm a Libra. So this is for the air signs. The swords suit is usually for air signs. And the Queen of Swords, actually, they say that she's kind of like the water of the air signs, which is so interesting to me because I feel like I behave a bit like a water sign quite a bit. So that's interesting. I don't think it's actually in my... No, I don't think I have any water signs overall when I look at the breakdown of like my natal chart. But I have to check that. I feel like I'm a lot of, or maybe it's Earth I don't have. I have to double check that. But anyway, Queen of Swords. So I'll describe her to you. She is like the least, I don't know, I don't want to say like she's the least peng of all of the queens in the deck, but she's just very like straight-faced. Here they give her like red hair, but I think it's meant to be brown hair. And she's sitting on a throne that's made of stone. And I think that that's important as well. The throne is made of stone, but it's got depictions of butterflies on the side of the throne. In the background, we can see a few trees and we can see some water, kind of like a little waterfall in the background. And we see lots of clouds that come up to about her chest also in the background. And she's sitting and she's got a sword in her, I want to say that's her right hand. Yeah, to me, that would be her right hand. So she's got a sword in her right hand and she's holding up her left hand and she's just there. And above her is just a clear sky with one single bird like flying about. And she's holding the sword in her right hand and it's straight up. Now, I was reading this book and it was describing who's who and rare. And it basically pointed out to me that I'm the Queen of Swords. And that angered me because I read the description of the Queen of Swords and I was just like, I'm not like that. And I had to sit down and be like, no, baby girl, you are like that. What made it worse is that Kris Jenner was also referred to as the kind of archetype of the Queen of Swords. And that annoyed me as well because I fucking can't stand Kris Jenner. So I was just like, how do I kind of reconcile being compared to this card? And I feel like this card came up when I was shuffling today because what's funny is that when I brought all of the deck out and I was holding it, I always look at the bottom of the deck. So I look at the card the only card that I can see from the deck. And I saw the Queen of Swords and I thought, oh, interesting, my card. So I start shuffling. And as I'm shuffling, a card flies out, lands in the car. And what is it? It's the Queen of Swords. So it's just like, bitch, you will not ignore me. When I show myself, you behave and you answer me. So the Queen of Swords, what does it mean? Queen of Swords is, people usually say it references a widow or it references someone who has made not even a pact, but they've made a lifelong friendship with a particular type of grief in their life. It doesn't hold them back. What it does though is because it's unique, because this kind of grief that they've become acquainted with, it's almost like a driving force for them to be the best that they can be. So the Queen of Swords is usually incredibly successful. She in later life, she's very, very successful. And you see like the younger versions of Queen of Swords building up to that. But then you always sense a kind of in their aura, there's just this little piece, this image of sorrow that they don't want to kind of let go of, because they believe that that's their driving force that gets them through and gets them to where they need to be. They can recognize that it's there and they just keep going. They're very, very intellectual, and even when things are going wrong around them, so that's why we see the clouds around her, but they don't come above her shoulders. When we see the clouds around her, even when the clouds are there, even when things are going wrong, she still has this headspace of she's very able to think logically at times when things aren't going as they should. She's always the problem solver. People go to her for advice and they go to her to kind of be their hype man, because she's the kind of person that will say, don't take shit. You go out there and you get what's yours. She's very protective of the people that she loves, and she drives the people that she loves to be the best for themselves, even if sometimes it's detrimental to the relationships that she has with them. So can you see how you can definitely see Kris Jenner in that description. You can see Kris Jenner as a widow, because Robert Kardashian died. Someone who uses that kind of hardness about her to thrive in life. That's what she's done. That's how she's helped her children build the empire that they've built. So yeah, it's interesting for me. And I feel like maybe with the sexual abuse that I suffered as a child is possibly, when I think about my life, I think that's the one piece of grief that follows me that I don't mind. You know, I feel that there's so much grieving to be done there. There's so much childhood that was lost that I don't want to rush myself to be like, oh, get over it. That's life. It happens in stages and it happens in waves. You can feel like you're okay, and then something reminds you. Like whenever I see newborn babies or maybe people who are pregnant, I always think about that. I just think about the fact that there's a soul, there's a life that's coming into the world that knows nothing and can't protect itself. Well, the soul knows lots of things. The spirit knows lots of things, but it's in a physical body that knows nothing, and they forget, why they're here, and they have to remind themselves of their assignment here and things like that. And you feel like surely the role of adults and parents especially is to protect these children. And I feel like a lot of parents do that. And so how would it feel as a parent to know that your sole duty of protecting a child, somehow someone makes you fail in that aspect, even if it's just for a little while, someone makes you fail in that aspect. How does that feel as a parent? So I feel like there's a lot of responsibility in parenthood. And I think the Queen of Swords flew out today to kind of remind me of that, to remind me of the fact that I'm still me, like I'm still this card. And she's got her sword upright as well. And it's very phallic kind of imagery as well, because she's got a very masculine energy to her. Like I said, she's sitting on a stone throne. She wasn't one of these baby girls that was like, oh my God, I need it to be gold and I need glitter and I need sparkles. She's like, nah, G, I want a stone throne. That's the fuck what I want. And I want you to emboss it with butterflies, because I'm a real G. Yeah, I've got that femininity, but still I'll cut a bitch. What? And that's why her sword is up, because she's just like, I can bless you with it. Like when you give people a knighthood, she's like, I can bless you with this sword, but I can also cut you. Try me, bitch. And I think that sums me up perfectly. The sword is obviously not a physical sword, but more so her intellect. Like you can use your intellect for the benefit of other people, but when they try a thing, you don't mind using that same intellect to done their dance. So I think this card came up at a time when I'm just like, I feel like humans are absolute trash and I can't stand people, and people are depleting me of my emotional effervescence, and I just don't want to be around it. And then this card comes up and it's like, but baby girl, always remember that you are a baby girl. So I appreciate this card so much, and I just wanted to share that with you because sometimes the tarot cards, they drag my life and they drag me in the most loving way. And I think this wasn't even a drag. This was just like a, come on. This isn't a time for you to be wallowing and dragging your feet. Remember who the fuck you are, yeah? Don't let these bitches play you. Remember that you're a real G in these streets. Got it? Get it? Good. So that's the tarot for this week. Moving on. My Share Your Magnificence for this week goes out to Hodan Yusuf, who is also known as at HY Freelance. So HY High Freelance. Hodan is a friend of mine. I met her because she started coming to my classes when I used to be in Clapton. Hodan is a hijabi, whom I love dearly. I love her so dearly because we have such affinity, and I know very few people who care about me the way that Hodan does. Her caring for me is by the by. I'm just saying, it's by the by. And I've mentioned Hodan before, but I'm going to go into it in a bit. So her caring for me is like no other, because like Hodan will like WhatsApp me. I might write something like lighthearted on the timeline on Twitter or whatever, or make a story on Instagram. And Hodan is one of the very few people who can like see me as a person that I am. Like I have personal people in my life who know me and have known me for years, and they'll watch my stories and be like, ha ha ha, that's so hilarious. But Hodan is one of the very few people that can be like, I feel your hurt. I feel your hurt in that video. I know that you cracked a joke here and there, but I feel your hurt in that. And I'm so grateful that you do what you do. But just know that you can take a break and, you're loved. And she's truly like, I just don't believe that humanity deserves her. Like her children are so lucky to have her as a mother. Like I look at her and to me, she's one of the best mothers, like out there that I've seen, because she's a true ride or die for her children, and like she doesn't take shit. She reminds me so much of the Queen of Swords. Like she doesn't play that. She doesn't play any of that when it comes to her family, and it's very apparent when you know her. I remember making a video last year in Clapton about the walls. Like people, for some reason, I don't know why, fully grown adults at their fucking big age like to lean on shit. Like they'll come to the studio and lean on the letters, or they'll come and they'll lean on the white walls. And so when I was in Clapton, the white walls were a mess because people kept leaning all on it, and it had like these nasty marks on the wall. So I just made an Instagram video and I was just like, this is such a mess and I've got to find a way to clean it. Lo and behold, Hodan hollers at me the next day. She shows up at the studio for a class, and she goes, oh, by the way, I bought you this thing. And it's like a sponge, and you just put a bit of water on it and it removes stains from the wall. And I could have cried because I just thought, how are you so wonderful? Like who the fuck made you? But I obviously know who made her, the Most High. She's truly someone who I feel like our souls have ages, and our souls have been here a number of times. And Hodan's soul, my God, like you can just tell that her soul has done so many journeys of learning and loving, and you feel where she's at. And just the respect, like real recognize real, and you're looking mighty familiar, baby girl. Love you. Apart from just my general feelings of love and sisterhood for Hodan, she's also an incredible journalist, and she's a fantastic person who blogs, and she's currently working on an anthology. She's contributing to an anthology, and she's a fantastic poet. Like her poems are banging. I remember she read one when I did a fundraiser last year, April, at Boondocks, called Lullaby, and that shit broke my heart. Like it was so wonderful. She did another poem called, I think it's called Every Day's Women's Day. And she read it out. She recited it at the House of Commons. And even then, she managed to slide in a sly suck your mum, but she worded it in such a way that you wouldn't know that that's what she was saying. She told Theresa May to imbibe herself, I think, with the juices of her mother or something like that. And I just screamed when I heard it. Like, I just love a rebellious baby girl. I love a rebellious baby girl. I don't think you can be a baby girl if you're not rebellious, actually. So there's that. And also, she's by the time you listen to this, a few days ago, she would have done a workshop at Amnesty International, talking to the staff about, and volunteers, etc., about white privilege. And I just appreciate that. I appreciate that someone, a black woman, is out there taking on that labor to educate people, and she's finding her ways into these institutions and making noise and flipping the table. And she's doing all of this when you have the respectability politics of being a hijabi being hung over her head, and she refuses to let that subjugate her. You can't tell her who she is. Like, she defines Muslim feminism to me. Like, I'm not Muslim, but you know, she defines it to me, where I look at her and I'm just like, rah. Everyone should see you. Any motherfucker that wants to open their mouth about, oh, Muslims, female Muslims can't be free truly because they're wearing hijabs. I just want them to meet Hodan so she can just tell them to just, well, obviously she won't say it to them, but just tell them to like just suck their mum calmly and shut their mouth. So Hodan, I love you immensely. I appreciate you greatly. Continue to just be the incredible baby girl that you are. Your children are so lucky to have an angel as their mother on this earth. You are fantastic, and I feel honored and truly blessed by the universe to have you as a friend. So you are my magnificent person, not just for this podcast, but just in life generally. Big up yourself. 2 slaps on your chest, my G. Thanks. So that's it. Share your magnificence. And I got a letter from Tony. I won't read out her last name. And she says, "Afternoon, Kelechi. I've been meaning to send this message for a while, but I haven't had the time nor the words to express myself. I appreciate you. I appreciate you are extremely busy, but I wanted to celebrate you. Thank you." Tony says, "Since I discovered you about 2 months ago, my life has changed for the better. When I listen to your podcast, I hear nothing but hope and light. Even when you stay handing out straws and unapologetically calling out outrageous acts of micro and macro aggressions in our community, on our community and many other communities. Coming from someone who had been rejected by the church and kicked out when I was read your Twitter feed, when I read your Twitter feed, sometimes I find it comforting to see you call out wayward behavior of untouchable men of God, quote unquote. No matter what layers of abusive protection the church has decided to shroud itself in. I've learned so much from you and continue to do so. So I just wanted to take some time out to let you know how much of an impact you're making in a young 24-year-old's life. I suspect I will be following the star-blazing trail of your career until completion, and this will not be my last email of encouragement to you. I hope to meet you one day and really learn from your feet. I hope our paths cross in some way, because I too am passionate about reclaiming the education which was stolen from us and changing it into action. For now, I'm committed to learning more and more about my history, identity, beliefs, and purpose. But I'm sure in a year or two's time, I'll mostly have a reason to meet you. I know you're very human and inevitably flawed, but you are my hero and my inspiration. I'm actually in tears as I write this paragraph because I faced so much pain and rejection in my short 24 years. I've had mentors that used me, abused me, and tossed me aside. Now having a mentor like you means the world to me. I will be emailing you regularly, maybe quarterly, just to update you on my progress and sharing some love. Before I go, are there any books that have fundamentally changed the way you think that you'd suggest I read? Thanks for taking time out to read my message. I wish you nothing but genuine love and light as your journey continues. Kind regards, Tony." Thank you, Tony. That made me teary. Wow. That was really nice of you. Such a babe. No, thank you. Thank you so much for that. That means a lot. And it means a lot, especially at this time, because there are so many ashy fucking pricks that are out in this world that, like, honestly, you can sense that there's some anger that I haven't found a conducive way to channel yet. I will be going back to therapy. Don't worry about that. But I'm just so tired of men, and I'm not even going to like shroud it and say, oh, men generally. No, specifically black men who want to jump up in my mentions and talk shit to me. When a black man dies, when something happens to a black man, I'm at the front of the people who was out there going, nah, this is wrong. This is what Theresa May, Sadiq Khan, what are you, man, doing about this bullshit? You motherfuckers stay quiet, trying to struggle, trying to drag and chuck your head into white fucking vagina, into seasonless vagina. That's what you focus your time doing. But then I'm here talking about the things that actually affect you. And then there might be a day that I'm just like, yeah, as much as I'm doing that, men are still trash. Like the construct of manhood and masculinity, as it's being used in current society, is trash, and it's damaging to not just women, but men also. But you motherfuckers will then see me and be like, oh, she's a man hater. That's all she's ever talking about. Always running her mouth. Fucking obnoxious. You know who's obnoxious? The fucking person that let you out of their vagina. I wish that they'd imprisoned you in there for life, you fucking dickhead. Go suck your mums, you pricks. But back to Tony's wonderful message. Tony, I really appreciate what you wrote to me. It was so loving, so caring. And it reminds me basically that there's a reason that I do this. I do this because I want my voice and my views documented. So no matter what happens tomorrow, people know how I felt about things. And I hope that before I even start the podcast or start an episode, I always do like a silent prayer. And I say, like, I just pray that whatever I say resonates with as many people who listen as possible, not just the tarot, but all of the things, so it speaks to us as a collective, because it's only as a collective that will move past so much of the trauma. So having you write in and say these things, it really does help me remember that I'm not alone. And, you know, as I'm taking this social media break and just not wanting to see other humans be fake and just annoying, it's nice to just have that reminder. So 24-year-old girl, you're doing fantastic work. You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing wonderful. The church kicked you out. Fuck them. Because the church is filled with so much fuckeries anyway, they can piss off. Like so many churches that I've visited over time, they are so backwards and they cause so much drama and pain. I don't know why a lot of people bother to go to those specific churches. Like, there are wonderful churches out there, I'm sure, and I know of a couple, but just generally speaking, nah. So don't worry that they kicked you out. It doesn't say anything about your worth or validation in God's eyes. Like, God thinks you're wonderful. As I'm always saying, like, God thinks I'm a baby girl, regardless of what you other motherfuckers think. And I feel like he feels the same way about you. So don't sweat anything, my gal. And also the books. So the books that I feel that have made a great impact on my life, definitely, as problematic as she is from time to time, Bell Hooks wrote Communion, The Female Search for Love. And I tell you, that book changed everything for me. And then Cherie Moraga put together an anthology called This Bridge Called My Back. And then Rebecca Walker, I want to say Alice Walker's daughter, she has an anthology called To Be Real. And I think that's the one, To Be Real. Yeah, I'll double check that because I might be quoting another person's book title. But I think it's called To Be Real, but yeah, I'll double check. But yeah, Rebecca Walker, she has an anthology, and they really helped me to see that I'm not the only one who's a feminist and conflicted, and they're all black women who really, or women of color who changed my way of thinking and really impacted on how I navigated my black feminism. So I would definitely recommend those books to you. Give it a try. And then there's, I want to say John Wellwood, but I might have made that up. Richard, I've given him another name completely. But the person who wrote Perfect Love, Imperfect Relationships, I think that would definitely help with, I don't know if there might be some feelings of abandonment or rejection that's come from the church and your mentors, like taking you for a mug, which you didn't deserve. So that book might help. Perfect Love, Imperfect Relationships. I found that was really useful as well. So I hope that those books are beneficial, and I really appreciate you writing in. I love the fact that you've just decided that I'm your mentor, and it's a great responsibility, and I'm honored, truly. And however I can be of help, let me know. But thank you so much, Tony. I really, really love that message. Thank you. So now moving on to So You Mad? So You Mad? Yeah. I thought you needed another song to like brighten up your souls, your black souls. Yeah, that was my song for you. So You Mad? So, you know, this section of ashy, unmoisturized Twitter that I'm always talking about, one of them thought that he would do something really, really wonderful and fuck himself right up and prove my exact point that you bitches could not do what I do on your best motherfucking day. Yeah, you don't have the sauce, nor do you have the juice to address racial issues. You most of the time you pretend like it doesn't exist, and then the one day that you want to make a massive statement about it, you fuck it up so magnanimously that the police are probably looking for your clout. So there's a video that was flying around Twitter. It's been removed by the guy who posted it now. But basically the video was of this guy, this black guy, running after an East Asian woman, running after her and barking. That's the best way to describe it. He was running after her and barking like an animal. Why was he doing this, you ask? Well, he says that, you know, she was walking down an alleyway and then he walked by her and she was startled. I think she made a noise to indicate that she was startled, and so she started running, I think. And so he decided that the best thing to do was to start running after her and barking, going, "Why are you running? You're fucking racist. Why are you running? Racist, racist. This is what you guys do when you see black men." Oh, ye of little sauce. Oh, ye of little sauce. Don't get it twisted. I understand the frustration when you see a non-black person see you, and because you're black, they move in a way that can only be described as what? Mad. I get on the tube numerous times. The way I'm dressed, you could not dress like that on your best day. Don't judge me on how I look now, because we all know that I can scrub up when need be. But anyway, you go and sit next to someone, you're looking cute, you're looking like a spice, and this dumb prick has the cheek to move their bag away from you as if you're going to jack them from something. Like, motherfucker, it's you, man, that steal entire fucking countries. You steal countries and you have the cheek to move your bag away from me like I'm the thief. Ha! That is hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. So don't get me wrong, I feel that frustration, but you know what would have been stupid, yeah? If that person moved their bag and then I dragged their bag out of their hand and I'm like, this is you, so you want a real reason to get scared, yeah? Well, look at me taking your bag now. What you gonna do now? Well, bitch, I'm gonna call the police. Duh. Like, duh. So anyway, this black guy's chasing this woman, barking and saying, "Oh, fucking racist, this is what you do, running away from black men," and rare. And it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing because nobody bothered to explain to you and your unmoisturized soul that there is an intersection of definitely race and gender. Yes. But what you need to understand is every woman, most women that I know are scared walking alone at night. As loudmouthed and as self-sufficient as I believe myself to be, I get nervous walking alone at night. When I've been out with friends, I feel the responsibility to be like, okay, need to make sure my friends are okay. Then I'm left by myself. Last year, so before the studio moved to Peckham, the studio was in Clapton. For months, I was walking walking to the train station by myself, and the studio used to be on an industrial estate, and any motherfucker could have been round there. And there were so many like wild people in that area, you just don't know. And also, around that time was when someone sent me horse manure to the studio because they don't like me. Ha! What's new? Anyway, they anonymously sent me horse manure. And even after receiving this, I would go home on my own. Now, if I saw anybody walking behind me or walking at a fast pace and moving mad around me, they might not necessarily even be moving mad, but walking behind me or walking towards me, there is a moment where you tense up as a woman because you understand how normalized it is for violence to be inflicted on women. And you always think to yourself, rah, is this the day? Is this the day that it happens to me? It's so scary. I know so many women that can attest to, not even just in the nighttime, in the daytime, being scared when they walk past certain people or groups of people. Like, it's a very, very real and valid fear for women. So it wasn't just because you're black. I don't dispute that didn't play a role, but it's not just because that. It's literally because you are a man and men are known to inflict violence on women, and she's shook because it's a dark fucking alley and you're just coming out of nowhere. So she ran for her life. Like, I would run too. Like, especially with me being black, I run first, ask questions later. So I just don't understand how you thought that was a smart thing to do. And then you thought it was even smarter to put it on the internet. And what makes it so extremely sad, and I think that was what was really leading up to me kind of being like, I don't want to be on the internet for a bit, was because I saw the number of black men who were jumping forward and going, yeah, well, this is what I mean about you fucking feminists. You're always trying to bring a black man down. It's clear you're the ones always talking about racism. This is racism right here. You know what? There was probably racism at the beginning of that. Yeah, racism mixed with just a general fear as a woman of unknown people being around you in the middle of the night. But that stopped the moment you started acting like a fucking idiot and chasing the woman down the alley and down the street to her front door. Like, I saw, it broke my heart because he was still filming her when she got to, I think she got to her front door, or she got somewhere and she stopped running and she was so panicked and she was so scared. And I just thought, how did you see that and not realize that what you've done is wrong? And then how did you see that and then think this is a great thing to post on the internet? Like, I just worry for you guys because I don't know who the fuck is raising you. You're so stupid, like so emotionally unintelligent. I don't know how we're going to survive as a race, as the human race, and as a black race is if you continue, because that's wild. It's just so wild to me. But what comes to my head, actually, even telling that story, because obviously this is the Hodan appreciation episode, is that when that horse manure was sent to the studio, Hodan was one of the only people who was just like, you know what? Whenever I am coming to class, me personally, you're getting into my car and I'm dropping you at the train station. The train station isn't very far, but you've got to go through many alleyways to get there, and I just wouldn't want to know that anything happened to a sister and I could have prevented it. So anytime she would come to a class, she would wait for me to clean up the studio and then she dropped me at the train station afterwards. And I'll never forget your kindness, Hodan, not in this lifetime, not in the next. I hope I meet you in many lifetimes to just thank you over and over for being the absolute baby girl that you are. So that's just what I wanted to share, that people are moving wild and they're moving mad. So that's that. So You Mad. Second So You Mad. Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron is South African, a South African actress, as you know, white South African actress who has adopted 2 black children. I think both of them are from South Africa that she adopted. But the one that we're speaking about is her son, Jackson, whom she adopted. And Jackson is known for wearing, quote unquote, girls' clothes. Now, a picture surfaced like last week of Charlize with 2 of the children walking somewhere, and he's wearing like Jackson is wearing a tutu and tights, and it's all pink, and he's got a white baseball cap looking thing on his head, and then the baseball cap has a blonde ponytail attached to the back of it. And so obviously this is circulating the internet, and a lot of people are vexed. They're vexed because they're like, Charlize Theron is, she's experimenting on this boy. She's making him wear girls' clothes and rare. and she's ruining him, and this is the problem when white people adopt black people, and I just think like those conversations are so dangerous because I think that they're just convoluted. Like there are some very salient points that need to be made, and there are other points that are just not necessary. So I've been watching this series, this 4-part drama on Channel 4. You can watch it on all 4. It's online, called Kiri. First of all, let me just tell you that structurally, the producers and all the people that worked on that show, they flopped in so many instances because, for instance, the girl and the family are meant to be Yoruba because their last name is Akindele, but the dad is meant to speak Yoruba at some point, and I don't know what language he was speaking because it wasn't fucking Yoruba. It was a mess. It was a mess in terms of what they were meant to have been doing in that respect. But it's interesting. I haven't finished it yet. I'm on the 4th part and I'm not giving any spoilers, so you spoiler police can shut the fuck up. But it's a 4-part drama about a black girl, Nigerian girl, who her parents were drug addicts, and so she was put into care, and then she gets a foster family, a white family, who start looking after her, and basically her social worker wants her to have some kind of cultural reference and some kind of cultural nuance, so she arranges for the girl to meet her paternal grandparents and have visitations with them and stuff, and it all turns out terribly because she gets killed. This is not a spoiler. This is literally the synopsis of the show. So now the 4-part drama is basically looking for one who actually killed her, and it explores that whole thing of, was the social worker right to have let her have contact with her grandparents if they knew that the son had a violent past and had been in prison and whatever, and that he was out. But the social worker's view was that she just wanted her to not be othered. Like, she's living with a white family that don't know anything about looking after her hair or doing anything for her. And she just wanted her to have something so she didn't feel othered. And she says that in the film, or she says that in the series. And it's so wonderful. If you can watch it, it's called Kiri, Kiri. It's really interesting. There are so many things that I don't like in terms of how it was made, but the conversation that they're having, I think, is an interesting one. So back to Charlize. I feel uncomfortable when white people adopt black people, especially when white people adopt black children. Mostly because, like when people like Madonna and these men like Angelina Jolie, when they do it, I don't know, it just feels like self-gratifying. It just feels a bit. It just makes me feel so uncomfortable because I'm just like, what are you doing to make sure that they know about their culture and about them? And what are you doing to embolden them and to feel comfortable in their non-whiteness? What are you doing about that? I hear that Angelina makes sure that her daughter Sahara goes and has her hair done in places, and she does this and she does that. And I really, really hope so. But then we've got Madonna on the flip side, who feels like it's okay to say nigger around her son. And I don't know. And so for me, Charlize, I don't know what she's doing with this child. But what I saw in those pictures was that she knows nothing about moisturizing their skin or their hair. And that's why you hire people. Like, you've got enough money to hire people to look after the child now, or the children. Now, that blonde ponytail bothered me, but I understand that because Jackson loves Frozen, the cartoon, that's why Jackson wanted the blonde ponytail. I feel uncomfortable referring to Jackson as he or she because right now I don't know how Jackson wants to identify, but Jackson's got this blonde ponytail on the cap, and I just think, could you not have found a cap that had like a brown ponytail? But apparently it's all because he loves, Jackson loves Frozen. It's so hard, but Jackson loves Frozen, and okay, fine, Jackson loves Frozen, but if everything Jackson is seeing, cartoons, you as the mum, and you have blonde hair, and all of these things around Jackson are all like white focused things and white centered things. Surely you can understand why Jackson is aspiring to have the blonde ponytail, because Jackson doesn't know any different. So yeah, that was my only issue with it. But people jumping up going, why the fuck are you letting him wear a skirt? Why is a boy wearing a skirt? And this, I just think, all of you shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth and let children be children. Like, my baby brothers used to dance around in my mum's shoes. Sorry if I've embarrassed them, but they used to dance around in my mum's shoes, not because they wanted to necessarily wear women's clothes or women's shoes, but it's because they have fond memories and they would see my mum wearing her shoes, dancing at parties. So they were just emulating what they saw. They're not wearing women's shoes now, and even if they decided to, that's none of my business. You know, I would support them with that, but they're not wearing women's shoes now because it's all about playing. Children learn through play. Like, allow children to be fucking children. Like, stop putting all of your shit, all your transphobic and homophobic trash onto them and just let them be innocent. Like, fuck off. So that's all I really had to say about that. And obviously, if you know me, you already know that I'm uncomfortable with the term white South African because, like, I've got friends who are white South Africans, and I just try to stay out of conversations when they're talking to me about, oh, I find it really offensive when people say I can't be South African because I'm white, because I was born there, I grew up there. And while I understand all of these things, I totally get it. I get why that must be hurtful. At the same time, it was the violence that was inflicted when you man arrived, when your ancestors arrived. That is the problem, because you didn't come there from an invite. You came up in there, ruined them, raped them, disenfranchised them, and then took the country and then governed the country and then told them that there were certain areas that they couldn't be and they couldn't be anywhere near you for decades. And then when they tried to get just basic human rights, you guys were upset. So forgive me if I'm not like cool about that. You know, I just don't feel comfortable with it, and I will never ever feel comfortable with it. It's like someone saying to me, oh, hey boo, I'm a white Nigerian. No, the fuck you're not. You're not. So if you want to flip that and be like, oh, well, that means that you're not Black British. Okay, my passport says differently. And actually, personally, I don't identify as British. I identify as Nigerian. So the joke's on you. But it reminded me of a poem that I wrote called She Wears Africa Around Her Neck. And I'm going to take the liberty of assaulting your ears with my poetry because I can do what I want. Here we go. It's called, like I said, it's called She Wears Africa Around Her Neck. As I spoke to her, I saw a glimmer on her neck. Maybe it reflected the audacious blonde that grew from her head. I don't know. I just saw this glimmer. It was Africa, small, silver, or maybe white gold, around her neck. A reminder of home, I imagine. But it's not. It is not her home. She wears Africa around her neck. It is probably that size in her mind too. Small and perfectly fitting on a necklace. I want to tear the pendant from her slender neck. That is mine. Africa is mine. Africa is a continent. It is huge. It isn't perfect. It doesn't sit and glimmer on the neck of whiteness. She wears Africa around her neck, and it doesn't strangle her like I wish it would. Africa has been used as a noose around the necks of people who look like me. It keeps them out of jobs and firmly clasped to poverty. She wears Africa around her neck because I think deep down she knows she could only ever wear something she can never truly be. So that was a poem about somebody, and I don't care. I wrote it and I like it and I read it out because I just don't appreciate people saying things like, oh, now the blacks are ruining South Africa and it's reverse racism and it's white genocide. None of that exists, so shut the fuck up. I don't doubt that there isn't violence, but you can understand that the anger of so many years of oppression, people are going to universities, black people are going to universities and seeing the statues of the most violent white people who came and took this country and enslaved their people up and around these universities. And when they want it removed, it seems like the hardest thing in the world for you fuckers to do. So no, I have feelings and I'm just going to keep them. But yeah, so my feeling about Charlize Theron is muddled. And so that, you know, that against the backdrop of her adopting a black South African child, there's just too many things. Too many things. Moving on anyway. Let us go to, well, there was something I wanted to discuss about Stefan Clark. Stefan Clark is the man who got shot 20 times by the police in his backyard in America while he had a cell phone in his hand. So everyone, I'm sure many people have heard about this story and what happened to him, but what I didn't know until Candice sent it to me was about his tweets, because obviously I'm not on Twitter at the moment. So this is what Candice sent to me. She said, "Hey Kelechi, so you've probably heard the news about Stefan Clark, the guy who got shot by the cops 20 times in his own backyard for holding his cell phone. Of course, the situation deserves outrage because this happens every other day here in the US. But I'd love to hear your opinion on a few of his social media histories, which is going viral. Not saying anyone deserves to die, but it's kind of heartbreaking and conflicting, fighting for the very black men who hate us and allow their non-black wives to bash us also. Just want to hear your opinion on this." So I was going to save this for the extra content, but I'm going to talk about something else in the extra content anyway. So these are his tweets. This Stefan Clark, these are his tweets. He wrote this last year. I want to say last year, May, but I'm not sure. No, 2015 is when he wrote this. He said, someone said, "Black is beautiful." He quote tweeted them and said, "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox. Dark bitches bring dark days." And he put up the Hove sign like that. Like he made a point, like he made a valid point. And then he repeated it again later on in the year, saying, "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox 100." That 100 emoji. And then he put "black bitches, no, 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 no. I don't want nothing black but an Xbox." Like, what makes me laugh is that he proper thinks like he's dropping bars by saying this, "I don't want nothing black but an Xbox." Don't you have anything else to say? Like, is an Xbox the only thing? And then anyway, he's Asian. The mother of his child, she's Asian, and she wrote something. And she obviously loves using the N-word because you, man, allow your non-black girlfriends and wives to say nigger, nigger, nigger as much as they want because you're just so happy to have their vaginal juices dripping down your face. She tweeted and she said, in 2016, this is what she wrote, and he also co-signed it. She wrote, "This nigga said, I don't want no black baby. I'm already black. I don't need no black baby." And then he commented on that tweet and he said, "On God, 100, as in, yeah, 100%. That's what I said." And then she then tweeted, "I don't fuck with black bitches because they too mean. Only do the white bitches because they get cheese." And, I've given up on commenting on the women that you lot like to date because you're so self-loathing that you will just date anyone, no matter how disrespectful they are towards your race. You're just glad to have someone that doesn't look like you. And that's for you, like your mothers and fathers to figure out. That's got nothing to do with me. That's not my personal problem. But thank you, Candice, for sending this through, because I think that this just says it all, really. This is why I'm taking the break. This is why I'm so exhausted, because I think that daily black women are breaking their backs. Like Cherie Moraga wrote in that anthology, This Bridge Called My Back. Everyone is happy to have the free labor of black women being at the forefront and fighting for every fucking cause. Like, Black Lives Matter was started by black women. Like, every other, like, queer black women have been doing so much for the black men who hate them, for the heterosexual black men who hate them. They've been doing so much. Black women all around have been doing so much, even from within your household. They have bitten their tongue and swallowed their tongue and just anything to protect you and to uphold your very, very fragile masculinities. They've done all of these things for you, and what does it do at the end of the day? It just allows you the space to talk shit about black women daily. There's one for, so if you listen to last week's episode, you'll remember that that Foreign said, I saw someone tweeting at you and rare. I finally saw who this person was that she was talking about, a guy called Swiss or whatever the fuck he calls himself on Twitter. I tweeted saying, I don't understand why these people always block me. And he wrote, because you're obnoxious and people have given you a blank check to be obnoxious because they felt sorry for you and da. I was just thinking, why so much vitriol? Why so much venom? Who hurt you? I don't even fucking follow you. I don't know who you are. No, the end of his tweet was like, so just stay quiet and twerk in your studio. So bitch, you've just confirmed my brand recognition is out of this world because you know who I am, what I do and where I do it. So thank you, you dumb hoe. You can tell me what I do, where I do it. You know all of that, yet I don't have a clue who you actually are. It's only upon further looking into it that I discovered his name is Folaon or Shinoye or whatever, and he's a trainee accountant. And friends were messaging me saying, he's started on me on Twitter as well. So I need you to sit with a therapist and discuss why you hate black women so much. That's what you need to do. Talking about I'm obnoxious. When we break down these very coded, gendered words that you're using, I'm obnoxious because what? I believe in my source. Who the fuck shouldn't believe in their source? Who the fuck shouldn't be glad that they're still here after all the fucking things they've been through? Fuck you, you dumb cunt. Like, I'm here from all the work that I've fucking done and nobody can tell me any different. God is the reason that I've kept on persevering when so many other things should have broken me down. So you think one dickhead that has to hide behind a keyboard pad is going to change that? No, fuck you and the pussy you came out of, you waste man. And, you know, people casually write these things. And what I was surprised about were the number of mutual followers that we had that were just like staying pim and were just watching the thing, waiting for me to say something. I'm not saying anything because there are things that are more pertinent that deserve my oxygen than one idiot who's threatened by the fact that I'm doing bits. And look at what he ended with. Just stay quiet in your studio and twerk there. What? Why is it silence that you lot demand of black women? Why is it always silence? Unless we're praising you and co-signing the fuckeries that you do. Otherwise, we should just shut up and say nothing. Not me, not ever. Some people like send me DMs sometimes and go, I don't always agree with the things you say. And I have a feeling that it's usually pertaining to what I say about men in general. And I have got to say to you respectfully that I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, I will continue to say this because I know what? I'm in the right. You, whatever you think, I'm sure if I sat down with you, I would show you all the ways that your fucking opinions are flawed. So that is just it. And this is just the episode that I let you all know that I'm tired of your bullshit. I'm done with it. I'm so fucking exhausted with having to tiptoe around your emotions because you don't want to address and accept that toxic masculinity, patriarchy as we know it, is fucking up the base. And I'm just saying it as it is. So this guy's a trainee accountant. He messaged me, a business owner, talking shit. He tweeted at me talking shit. He also tweeted at Rita, who owns Radiant Salon, talking shit. So I'm just like, what? How successful do you expect to be as an accountant in the future when black female business owners seem to be your only focus in sending them insults? And what are you insulting other than the fact that they're living their best life? Now, you see, this is where the conflict happens, because should the police in the UK tomorrow somehow arrest him for something that he didn't do and they break his neck, guess who's going to be the first person that's tweeting at Met Police? It will be someone like me. And this is why we're so tired. And I get what Candice is saying, because you fucking idiots will sit on the internet all day talking about, I prefer light-skinned bitches, can't stand these black bitches. I love, white women because black women are XYZ, but the same women that you love, where is the fucking Asian community to fight for Stephon Clark now? Where is his baby mother's community to fight for the fact that he got killed unjustly by the police? They're nowhere. But it's down to us to fight for him after he's been online talking shit. And you know what? We'll do it because no life deserves that. No life deserves to be, brutally and unlawfully taken. No life deserves that. So we will continue to fight for you and for ourselves, even against our own better judgment, because all you ever seem to do is try to trample us down, and we've still got to continue. And I've got to say that is the most frustrating aspect of it. That I'm talking about things that you lot would never speak about because you're so concerned about how white men view you, because that's who you're really trying to be like, that you'll come into my Twitter mentions and chat shit, but you won't address the structural issues that are at play. I'm the problem. I'm speaking about things that affect us all. And for things to be done about them, it saves us all. But you don't care about that. I'm just angry. I'm just making up wild things as far as you're concerned. So that is, it is what it is. I just don't care. But Candice, I really appreciate that because it's a conversation that we do need to have. It doesn't change anything. We still need to rally up against police brutality no matter what. But I definitely feel so disheartened knowing that a lot of these men that we're out here fighting for couldn't give a shit about us. And that's the reality. When girls were saying now they didn't get into district, so many guys were quick to jump and be like, maybe you're clapped. Maybe you didn't deserve to be in there because you don't know how to dress like these white girls, blah, blah, blah. But the moment they didn't get in, they want us to jump up and fight for the fact that they didn't get into the club. Oh my God, this is terrible. This is terrible. When it's black women, you always find a reason why we deserve the violence that was inflicted upon us. But when it's you, no matter what you do, we need to find and see your humanity. And me, I'm taking a break because my modus operandi for the next few weeks is it's not my personal problem. It really isn't. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want because me, I'm just tired. So moving on then, wrapping it up before I move to my extra content. I got a letter about Punch a Muslim Day. That was April the 3rd. Sent by my friends at Slay and Sip Tea. He said, "Hi, Kelechi. I'm writing because I'm in utter shock. I was on Twitter and saw a video of a Muslim woman being attacked by a white man with the caption, 'A hijabi lady attacked in a hospital in Dearborn, Michigan. Reminder to everyone to stay safe this April 3rd. This is not a joke. Do not be alone. This could have been so much worse had no one been there.'" And then he said, "I saw stay safe this April 3rd, and I wasn't sure what the individual was referring to. So I decided to Google it, and I found this, that, basically anonymous letters have been sent, and it said, and the messages that they've been sent around the UK. And the message says in them, April 3rd will be Punish a Muslim Day, and that points would be awarded for acts of violence. 25 points for pulling off a woman's headscarf, 500 points for murdering a Muslim, and 1,000 points for bombing a mosque. Slay and Sip Tea says, "I don't even know where to start. The hatred for Muslim people is so strong that people have decided to dedicate a whole day to terrorizing them. I don't understand how someone can view the lives of innocent people as games, as points to fuel their racism and xenophobia. This is terrifying, and I'm at a loss for words." I join you in that because the most I could do was just check in on my visibly Muslim friends and just say to them, I hope you're staying safe. That's what I was doing April 3rd, like I said, checking in on my friends like Hodan, just making sure she and her family are safe. And she was just like, yeah, we're not taking any shit. She was just like, I'm out here. I wish they would try me. But, not everyone has that same energy, and it's scary. I think that Islamophobia is so normalized in society that it's worrying. Like, why can't you guys use your own heads to realize that this is not cool? And so my straw of the week just goes out to anybody that thinks it's okay to treat people a particular way because of their religion, most specifically because they're Muslim. But, because Muslims, they're extremists and they're terrorists. Fam, there are extremists and terrorists in every fucking religion. Look at Christianity. All of these wars that America and the UK are wielding on the rest of the world, are they not doing it and saying, "In God we trust"? So don't talk to me about any extremism, because people are extreme everywhere. We see white men going and targeting, a white man's targeting black people in Texas with bombs, And the media refused to refer to him as a terrorist because that term terrorist is safe for brown people, but specifically brown and black Muslim people. And that is worrying in itself. A white man can walk up in Vegas or wherever into a school and shoot up the place. No one will refer to him as a terrorist or an extremist because he was a lone wolf. He was acting alone and he had mental health issues and he liked to eat this on this day. And I've made that analogy before, but it's so worrying that the violence of white men is so normalized. No one refers to them as anything like this, but there's a massive agenda against Muslims and making them out to be like every Muslim that you encounter is possibly a terrorist. Do you know how much it fucks me up? It fucks me up and makes me so hateful about the media and everyone else. The fact that a lady can be in a burqa and she gets on the tube and instantly I feel that thing in myself like, oh shit, like, am I safe? And that's fucked up. And I have to actively talk myself and say, no, remember how the media works. Remember all of this. Remember all of that. I've got to self-talk and tell and actively talk myself out of all of the things that I've been indoctrinated with in the media, because they give you images and they tell you that this is what this is and this is what that is. And the average person doesn't check themselves when they think that. They think that it's valid to think these things, and it's really, really not. It's really not okay. And when I think about the fact that people's lives, innocent people minding their day-to-day business, could possibly get attacked by one xenophobic dickhead, one racist prick, just because they want to earn points. And imagine you're getting more points for dragging off a woman's hijab than you're actually getting for murdering them, because it isn't about their life. It's about you grabbing onto the things that visually represent them and that they hold integrity in. And to me, that's vile and it's fucked up. So to all of you that think it's justified and to call just offhand without thinking about it, calling Muslim people racist, calling Muslim people terrorists, or anything else that you want to say, and thinking that it's the violence against them is justified, I need you all to pick up a straw wherever you are and just find your mother, any mother that's willing for you to suck her dry until you pass out. That's what I want for you. That is my straw of the week. To any xenophobic motherfucker, this is how you ended up in your stupid Brexit situation in the first place. Fuck you. Leave Muslim people alone. Leave them the fuck alone. And that is it for this week. That is all I gotta say. In my extra content, I'll be talking about Julie, I want to say July, but her name might be Julie Black or July Black. She's a singer, a Canadian singer and songwriter who was on TV in Canada earlier this week and having a discussion with Jean Becker, and they were just talking about altruism and like passive altruism and how it means nothing. And Jean Becker decided that Julie, a black woman, was attacking her, even though nobody was actually chatting to her. So I just want to discuss why white women always feel like they're being attacked when the truth is just being told. So that'll be in the extra content. If you want to find that, it's on Patreon.com/Kelechi Okafor. Patreon.com/Kelechi Okafor. So that's it. That's it for this week. You can follow me on @SayYourMindPod or @Kelechnikov. Remember to like and subscribe if you're watching the video, or just, share my shit. Thanks. I love all of you people that introduce your friends to the podcast. I have been Kelechi Okafor, and this has been SYM, officially known as Say Your Mind and unofficially known as what? That's right. Suck your mother. Suck your mom. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.
It's the Benz, Punani, womanist, baby boys, baby girls, you need to hear this. Sit down, receive this realness. Make sure your cup's ready for the tea, we are go sip it, yo. Hot time scrolling for your long throats. You might learn something you never know. Collect you fine, and she's one of a kind. Don't say your mind, say your mind.